in the past few weeks, we have seen various signs of escalation. First, we have seen that areas outside the conflict theater have been hit by air, which means a geographical extension of the conflict. We have also seen a much more intense use of drones, 600 times on one side, 200-300 times on the other side. So it is possibly the largest drone war theater now in the world. There is a lot of collateral effects, like, for example, acceleration in the number of IDPs. We give an official figure of 120 or 130,000 IDPs, but there are many others who had to leave their homes but went to live with family or left to Tunisia because of the war. And they are not in this figure. So the real figure of IDP is closer to 400,000 to 500,000. Plus you have all the sort of negative effect, in particular now the closure of basically all the airports in the West, because they are hit almost daily by drones and by Air Force, which makes the life, the displacement, the departure elsewhere much more difficult. Soon we will have to face another problem, which is the fact that many of the IDPs are in schools, and the new school year will start, and you will be torn between giving back the schools to the kids or IDPs. So we have all these problems before us, which are the problems of the Libyans, and we are trying to help as much as we can. You need, on the one hand, a clear decision by the Libyans themselves to turn the page of the 7-8 year disturbances and war and conflict they have been going through since the collapse of the former regime. And this is something they all say they want, but in fact when you tell them what the price is for them particularly, they sometimes are reluctant, because there are a lot of people who are benefiting from the status quo and do not want it to change. And you also need a clear decision by the international community that this war can be ended and should be ended, and we lack the political will domestically and internationally. What happened in 2011 was not the division of the country or the partition of the country. It was the whole implosion of the country. That is why you have a huge number of local conflicts. And it's a full-time job to take care of these local conflicts. These local conflicts run on their own very often, are sometimes very, very lightly related to what's happening in the country in general. They can be explained locally by local grievances on real estate, ethnic feelings, on tribal rivalries, etc. We have never stopped working on that level. This is a daily work that can consume all your time. On the national level, we have tried to bring together a national conference that would have put an end to a number of questions, like who's legitimate, who's not, when the election should take place, according to which law, what to do with this constitutional draft that the Libyans have produced but do not know what to do with, etc. Unfortunately, the war started 10 days before the date of the national conference, and well, I felt, and I think a number of Libyans felt, like being stabbed in the back, because everything was ready to host that national conference that I hope has only been delayed for better times. There are different ways of looking at accountability. There is one way that has worked sometimes, and we took risks, but it worked. It's name and shame. Naming and shaming is very, very important. This is crucial. But this is not enough. You need to go a bit further. You need to have a real judicial system. Fortunately, the judiciary in Libya is still united, has not been divided like other institutions. Unfortunately, it is sometimes under the pressure of local armed groups. So you need also international justice, and this can come through the ICC. That is why we are helping the ICC, facilitating its presence in Libya when representatives of the ICC come to Libya. We are doing the same with the panel of experts that is dependent on the Security Council. But there is something I am extremely worried about, and I should say it. That is, what is the accountability of states, member states, in the fanning of the Libyan war? We have a UN Security Council resolution putting a clear arms embargo towards Libya. Now the panel of experts is looking at 40 cases of violation of this arms embargo by a number of states since April the 4th. So if we do not apply the idea of accountability on us as international organizations and as member states, we would be in a much weaker position to impose it on the Libyan violators.